Hello everyone. In my today's session, I'll be discussing about dealing with difficult people. What makes someone difficult person? Everyone has their own personality types and quirks. In and of themselves, personal clashes don't make for difficult relationships. Usually, what ruins interpersonal relationships is poor communication, lack of empathy, or criticism. Let's have a look in details. What is poor communication? They might constantly talk over you or never pay attention to what you have to say. They might be indirect, passive, aggressive, or really rude or ruthless. Whatever it is, talking to them is never straightforward, and you never feel good about the conversation went after you do. Then, what makes a person difficult person can be lack of empathy. Some individuals never seem to care about anyone but themselves. They are self centered. This lack of empathy can make them especially challenging to deal with. They may have trouble understanding others' emotions or circumstances. These people often come across as callous or uncaring. And sometimes, in extreme cases, they are the ruthless people. Then, thirdly, there can be criticism. Highly critical people can among the most challenging to be around. It can seem like nothing and no one meets their standards. Unfortunately, the closer you are to a highly critical person, the more their comments sting. This can be particularly upsetting in personal relationships. Now the question is that how do you spot a difficult person? In my today's session, I'll be telling you 11 ways to recognize difficult person. People seems to avoid them. They insist on having everything on their own. They belittle you or insult you normally. They leave you out of important conversations. They always have an answer for everything, irrespective of any situation, you can say. They have a difficulty with emotional regulations. They exhibit toxic traits. They second guess everything you say or do. Their private and public behavior is inconsistent. You don't feel comfortable around them. They exhibit extreme jealousy, codependency, or other red flags in their relationships. How you are going to deal with difficult person is an important question, and in my today's session, I'll be focusing on this. The fact is, in life, we are always going to encounter difficult people. But even when we understand how their behavior and attitude affect us, we can prepare ourselves to deal with them. Basically, listen to them firstly. When you're faced with a challenging person or a situation, ask by listening. Look at it as an exercise in courtesy. Try to understand as much as possible what they want and why they are giving you a hard time. Get into their shoes. From there, try to imagine things from their own point of view. If you were this person and you were behaving in this way, what would justify your behavior? What would you be having happening to convince you that you were right? That might give you insight into how the other person feels. Thirdly, the thing is that honor both of your needs. Many people take a dim view of compromise, feeling that when people seek a middle ground, no one gets what they want. However, that is least fulfilling a version of compromise. What makes better and feels little more satisfying is to come to an agreement that honors both of your needs. Find a way, if you have to spend around each other, that you can do so with respect, because respect is the most important thing. Then use humor. Using humor is also very important. Sometimes we get into difficult conversation because we take things too seriously. If you are in conflict with another person, using appropriate humor can help to diffuse tension. Cracking a joke or even a smile can lower the stakes. If you remind you of a shared common ground and even shift you into a more collaborative method, then you have to practice. If you are a little conflict avoidant, you may be hesitant to get even into the conversation with difficult people. If that's the case, try practicing what you want to say first. Coaching sessions are highly helpful, space to run through conversations with different personas. Sixth point is that when all else falls, eject. If you ever find yourself stuck dealing with someone you really can't stand, get out of there. Sometimes it's just not worth engaging. When our feelings are involved, we often feel drawn into the exchange. We are so absorbed that we forget we can just leave. Then create a buffer. Set limits on the amount of time you spend engaging with emotional vampires or the difficult types of people. If you have to meet them, do it in a very neutral way. Connect virtually or schedule something directly so that they don't take much of your time. Then practice self care. Being around difficult people, even if everything looks calm on the surface, can be emotionally exhausting. If you are going to deal with it on a regular basis, for example, as a caregiver or in any relationships, you need to be sure to refill your cup. So, dealing with difficult people can help you by practicing all the key points which I have already told you. No one looks forward to interacting with difficult people, but it doesn't have to ruin your day, week, or workplace. You may be confronting these sort of people around your working environment, around your home, or within your family members as well. But it doesn't mean that you should start avoiding such sort of people. While there's often much we can do to change their behavior, we can change our responses and minimize how they affect us. That is all from my side. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Allah Hafiz.